What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be trying something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and that's going to be DIY powder coating. I went out and I bought like my own powder coating setup. I believe I spent a little under $250 for the entire powder coating setup. So this is something that is affordable for absolutely everyone to do, depending on what kind of results we get, because I have no idea like how this is going to turn out. So I went to Harbor Freight. I grabbed their central machinery powder coating system. I looked at a lot of reviews between the central machinery one at Harbor Freight, which is about $95, versus the Eastwood powder coating setup, which was around $175. Now, the reason I got the central machinery one, the cheaper one, is because at the reviews between both of them were saying that they're both good entry-level powder coating systems, except the central machinery one does spit out a little extra powder, so you do lose some of the powder that you would be saving with the Eastwood setup. But I feel like for $95 versus $175 or $195, I'm totally fine with that. So let me kind of show you guys what we have set up here, what we're going to be powder coating, and kind of the process from what I've learned. I've never done this before, so I mean, if I can do it, you guys can do it. So this is the powder coating machine that we're going to be using. I'm not entirely sure how to use this. I know this is our grounding electrode. We have the actual gun up here, which I do already have hooked up to the compressor. I've already got that filled up, so that way we don't have to listen to it fill up for quite a while. And then it comes with a foot pedal, so I think I have to hit the foot pedal and use the trigger on that at the same time to make it go from power to spraying on the machine. We're gonna get that figured out. I'm not entirely sure. It does come with 2 of these bottles to be able to hold powder. And then this is the actual like setup. So this is a filter right here to make sure that you're not getting any moisture up into the powder area, because that's gonna compromise all of the powder. I do have regulations set on the air compressor to about 5 to 10 PSI. From everything that I've seen, they say about like 10 PSI is where you want it. So I have it like in the range of like 10 PSI on that guy. If you want that, and I'll link all this stuff down below if this works and this is something that you guys want to do in your garage as well. This is going to be our test subject for powder coating. So I bought some of this high temp masking tape to be able to mask off the areas we don't want powder coat. So that's going to be on the flange surfaces. These are not the lower TGV delete housings that we're going to be running in the STI. These are a spare set that I have. These ones down here are the ones that we're going to be powder coating and running in the STI. I also got the fuel rails and a couple other things for these, but I bought a different color that I actually want to end up doing on the car. So this is going to be more of a practice run to make sure that we know what we're doing when it comes time to actually do the finished product. Now, there are a couple powder coating options out there. This is some hot coat from Eastwood. This is like a battleship gray is what they call it. I believe it's similar to the color on the STI itself, but with the finished, like the actual TGV housings that we're going to be using, I went with more of a bronze black color. It'll be a lot cool. I mean, I think it'll look a lot better than this battleship gray. So this is going to be our test powder. Powder is pretty cheap for those of you that are wondering. I bought 1 pound of powder for about 10 bucks, so not too bad at all. So first step is going to be getting this guy masked up. So I'm just going to throw some of this high temp masking tape over the mating surfaces on the top and the bottom of this flange. After that, we will, I guess we'll just start spraying and see how it goes, I guess. I totally spaced. I also bought an oven. This is the cheapest oven that I could find. I bought this oven for 65 bucks on Amazon. It goes up to 450 degrees, which is what we need because we're gonna have to bake these parts at about 450 degrees for 20 minutes or so to let the powder cure on there. So this was the biggest tabletop oven I could find for a reasonable price. There is one made by Jegs, but a lot of the reviews people were saying from Jegs is that the oven just never got up to temperature. So we're gonna be using this guy. This is a 17.5 by 12.5 by like 9.5 oven, so we can fit some like pretty decent brackets in here. The whole reason that I got this entire setup is because with the EG33 swap and all these parts that we have up here, a lot of them are just rusty, they're old. If I can clean them up, repowder coat them, make them look nice, it'll save us some money later on, so that way I'm not buying multiples of the same part. So let's get these guys masked up and let's make an attempt at powder coating here. So I wouldn't use like normal masking tape or painter's tape when it comes to this stuff. You do need something that's high temp, or else it's just not going to, it's pretty much just gonna burn in the oven, and nobody wants that. You don't want your tape catching fire or burning in the oven, because that's just not gonna end well for you. I can promise you that. All right, so as you guys can see, I've got everything masked up, plugged up. These are just some silicone high temp plugs that can resist up to like 500 degrees in the oven, just so you can mask off holes and things like that a lot easier. So now that we have this guy masked up, ready to go, I guess we just start powder coating. I do want to take a second and talk about the process of cleaning these. If you have access to a media blaster, I highly suggest you guys media blast. What I did is I did like a hot tank at home, just made my own like DIY hot tank to be able to clean these the best I could. But ideally you want to be able to media blast everything to get all the schmoo off of these. Now, because I didn't media blast these, I don't think we'll get like the best finish, but this is just a test part to see how this all goes. So let's go test out this awesome powder coating device and see if we can't change this to a battleship gray color, because that'll be kind of cool. That'll be cool, it's what we want! Alright, so the powder coating gun is filled up with powder at this point. I took the mask off just to be able to talk to you guys for a second. The part I have, like you guys saw me, it's masked up, it's plugged up, it is on that little like rack. I just pulled the rack out of the oven, put the part directly on that, so that way after it's powder coated, we can just grab the rack, put it in the oven, be good to go. Now I am going to be wearing a respirator the entire time that I'm doing this. I'm not fully sure what I'm doing. I have a foot pedal, I have the powder coating system, and I have a trigger on the powder coating gun. So I believe I step on the pedal and then I pull the trigger on this guy, and then it like ejects the powder. Now we are gonna have to hook up the negative terminal off of the powder coating machine onto the part. So I believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, I believe the powder coating system negatively charges the particles in the powder, so that way it sticks, or it positively charges. I think the powder coating gun positively charges the particles coming out of the gun, and then the ground negatively charges the part, so that way they stick together. I'm pretty sure that's how our powder coating system works. If not, you guys will correct me down in the comments, and it's totally normal. So, I mean, I guess at this point there's nothing left to do but just give it a try, right? We'll give it a whirl.
All right, where's our ground? Here's our ground. Not a lot of spots to clip you, so I guess, I guess right there. Turn on the machine. We have power. Okay, so I have to engage the foot pedal, which sends the electric current to be able to powder coat this. So, do that. Wow, that's a lot of powder, okay. Not gonna lie, this is a lot easier than what I thought. Oh, okay, it'll spark if you get too close, good to know. Alright, good to know that it sparks a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna turn the machine off, set down our powder coating gun, and then disconnect this guy. That's it! That was easy!
So that was incredibly easy. They're powder coated gray. I'm gonna throw this in the oven, set a time lapse on the camera for about 20-25 minutes, and we'll see how they look coming out. But let me kind of show you guys what they look like now, and then we'll get them thrown in the oven. So that was so simple to do. Like, you guys can see the powder stuck on there just as it was supposed to. I got pretty good coverage with this machine too. I do feel like the Eastwood one would be a lot better in some of those like tighter areas down there. But so it's super easy. So the ground hooks up to the part itself. The pedal sends the current through the gun and through the cable, so it like positively and negatively charges everything. And then from there, you just squeeze the trigger and it kind of poofs out. I did find that I did have to pump up regulation on the air compressor up to about 25 PSI, and it worked a lot better. So next step is to just throw these in the oven for 20-25 minutes, see how they come out, and I'm excited actually. All right, let's just throw them in. I want to see what they look like. Just pulled these guys out of the, well, you guys have seen, I've had the oven open for a little bit for them to cool. I thought it was still wet. That's just the gloss. Like, it is dry to the touch. So, I can just grab, oh, wow, wow, ooh. Wow, that feels weird. Wow. Oh, okay. Okay, it's like slippery. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I was not expecting that. Okay, let me pull these out and get them thrown on the bench over there. We'll get the masking tape and everything off of these. We'll pull out all the plugs. I'm curious to see kind of what the final finish of these looks like. This has been incredibly easy. Literally anyone can do this. This was like a $250 powder coating setup, including the oven, the powder coating gun, the powder, not including the compressor, but compressors aren't too bad. I think I got that one for like 80 bucks. But I'm curious. I want to see what this looks like because this feels so weird. So weird. Hot. Okay. Okay, it's still hot. Okay, it's still hot. Oh, okay. All right. Well, since it's still like scalding hot, let's do this with some caution here and start pulling out plugs and whatnot. That was a lot hotter. Okay, I thought they were fully cooled down. Not necessarily the case here. Why am I questioning why it's hot? I just pulled this out of the oven. Okay. Okay, let me grab you. Let me do a flip job. You are still very hot. Wow, you guys, that came out like so much better than I was expecting. Like I said, I could have gotten a little bit better coverage down here on the bottom, but this being my first time and this being a test piece, pretty happy with the outcome of this. They look a lot better. Ooh, 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 that's hot. It looks a lot better than this one does. Like if you look at the difference between these, you can definitely see that we just powder coated one of them. The Battleship Gray, I actually kind of like this color, but I am a little pumped for the other color that's coming in. It's like a blackish bronze coolness. I don't really know how to describe it, but these look awesome. These look incredibly awesome. To be able to do like a $200 powder coating job whenever you want to, I'm not gonna complain. Like I definitely think taking it to like a professional powder coater will get you a little bit better results, but overall, like I can't complain with, it's so hot. I can't complain with the results from this at all. For the money spent and being able to powder coat whenever we want now, well worth it in my opinion. So for a $250 powder coating setup, I'm like pretty impressed with the results for what we got off of these. I'm going to go ahead and powder coat the other TGV housing just to get a little bit more practice. So I'm just gonna time lapse going through that process. If I find something that works a little bit different, we'll cover it at the end of the video. But like, I am like so ecstatic and I like weirded out about the feel of these TGV housings when I pulled them out of the oven. It's like they're, I don't know, when I first touched it, it felt like really slippery, like I kind of grabbed like a jellyfish or something. If you've ever grabbed a jellyfish, that's what it reminded me of. Not necessarily like the squishiness of it, but like the slipperiness. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Don't tell me you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's so weird. So I'm gonna get this other TGV housing knocked out. After that one, I'll see. I mean, I just want to play with it more, to be honest, and get a little bit more practice with it before we actually do the actual TGV housings down there that we're going to be powder coating this new color that I get on Monday. So let me get this other one knocked out, and then I'll, like I said, I don't even know. I'm just rambling at this point. Just pulled out the second set of lower TGV housings out of the oven, and I'm not gonna lie, they came out a little bit better than the first set. So something that I found while doing this is that you gotta like really get it at all angles. Like go from the bottom, then go from like the top, all the sides and everything like that. Keep the end of the powder coating gun away from the part though, because it will generate an arc. That arc will also shock you if you are way too close to it. So do keep that in mind. But I'm like pretty stoked with the results from practicing on these two lower TGV delete housings. In the next video, we're gonna be actually powder coating. So we're gonna be going like the whole kit and caboodle with the actual lower TGV housings that I have. So this is, like I said, this is the actual set that we're gonna be using. These ones are converted to top feed from side feed. But overall, like I'm like stoked for this. To have a powder coating setup in the garage that cost under $250 to be able to do this whenever we want is awesome. And the powder is cheap. You can get like a pound of powder for 10 bucks too. For these two lower TGV housings, I maybe use 2/10 of a pound. So, I mean, it doesn't take a ton of powder. Something that I did notice about this powder coating kit, the Central Machinery one, is it does leak a little bit of powder out of the end of the nozzle, but it's nothing major. Like the small amount of leakage that happened is like right there. It's just a couple small dabs. So it's nothing huge to worry about. But if this is something you guys are looking at doing and having your own setup in your garage, it's it's well worth it. Like, it's so worth it to be able to do this, especially when you're fabricating stuff, you have old parts and you want to clean them up, make them look good again. This is definitely the way to do it. So that's all I got for you guys on this one. I'm super pumped about this DIY powder coating setup. Remember, if I can do it, you guys can do it. It's just as easy as just spraying it on, making sure you have the right PSI in your compressor. Remember, 20 PSI is what I use. You could go down to like 15 or 10 PSI if you really wanted to. But overall, super ecstatic about this. Like I said, I'll link everything down below in the description. I bought all of this off of Amazon because your boy's lazy and no one locally sells this stuff. So they had some pretty good deals. But if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button and turn it blue like the chassis of the Subaru. Duh. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit your boy up. One of these corners, no idea which one yet, because we do a lot of this DIY stuff. We have the engine swap that we're still waiting for the motor to come back from the engine builder to swap into the STI, and you know, always good, more stuff coming. There's always stuff coming, you know what I mean. But with that though, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.